Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Sam.
and this is Wise Words for Dodo Birds.
I'm a contractor for NASA projects. I mean, I would see them launch rockets, 2-3 times a month.
Cool.
It never gets old. Just leveraging your soft skills or never, ever be the smartest guy in the room. There's something you can learn from anybody. And it doesn't matter how smart they are. It doesn't matter how dumb they are. They know something that you do not, and it will benefit you in the future.
Welcome back, everybody. We are at episode something. It's hard to tell nowadays.
17, I think.
We're in double digits, so bear with us. We have a special episode for you. It is a special guest as well as our first guest. This is my friend
Logan. That's me.
We have known each other since kindergarten. Our parents actually hung out in high school. We didn't know that until later.
I just found that out.
Yeah, Logan and I have been friends forever. Logan is one of the most interesting people I know because I hang out with a lot of uninteresting people. No, I'm joking.
Like me.
That's not true.
So Logan what is your official job title?
I'm currently a systems engineer, so I'm a contractor for NASA projects.
For NASA. So
That's pretty fucking cool.
yeah. I work at a head shop.
Right. I deliver pizza.
Yeah. So
Effectively, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Efficiently and effectively.
So we're excited to have Logan here today. We're just gonna kind of do some bullshitting and
I actually do have one simple question for you actually right off the bat in regards to your job. So like now that you're doing a job like that, when you were younger, does it seem different? Is it just another job, or is this like a really exciting, like, oh man, this is the kind of job that
Well, so taking a step back a little bit, I mean, when I was in high school and stuff, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? I'm sure we'll touch on this, but I did join the military, and then it was mainly because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I was like, well, once I figure it out, the government will pay for it with the GI Bill. And so it was more of a chain of events that kind of brought me to where I am right now. It's just leveraging your soft skills or anything like that, and it just kind of happened the way that it did. It's kind of weird, but at the same time, it is kind of cool to be associated with an organization like that.
Right.
that's why I think your story is inspiring. Because I'm not a betting man, but if I would have polled people from our high school and been like, which person in our class is gonna work at NASA? Nobody. I don't think anybody at the time would have.
To be fair, I was rated 82nd out of 123 people when it came to their grades.
Right.
No, exactly.
I was in that boat too.
But you were a hooligan, and I don't think anybody would have anticipated this.
Well,
You've got to flex at the class reunion for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had fun when I was a kid. I mean, who didn't?
Yeah.
The thing is, I just didn't take my life too seriously. And
exactly.
And I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to be the class clown. I wanted to stand out. But at the same time, I was kind of a little lazy when it came to my schoolwork because I felt like I knew a lot of the stuff. And so I was one of those kids that didn't do the homework, didn't really prepare for tests or anything, but I just did well enough to get the good student discount for my insurance.
You gamed the system.
I can relate to you a little bit on that. Maybe not for the insurance reason, but just enough.
Just
you know what
enough,
I mean? The
right?
just enough thing.
I guess that's like what I'm trying to articulate is that there are people that tried really hard and you were just kind of like, I did what I needed to get by, and I just happened to crush it.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that I'm sure were trying maximum capacity and are not doing as well as you are today. So it's a big ups,
Well, we have a couple of people in our class that do some pretty cool things.
For sure.
I don't want to drop any names, so I'll just say, for example, we have one person who's very good at sports, and he was actually a manager for the Twins developmental league down in Central America. So That's a pretty cool job. I think all in all, our class though was really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's a couple of super, super bright people and a couple people that I'm sure aren't doing as well as, people in this room are, but that goes with anything. But I think overall, our class was very, very strong. And I am happy where I grew up because, like you said, I've been around everywhere. I've been up north, I've been down south, I've been out west, I've been out east. And there's just something, I think schooling, the size of the school does make a difference. And,
for sure.
And the fact that I was able to have access to the teachers that I did, I think it speaks volumes. Like, if I wasn't having such a good time where I am now, the only thing that I would want to bring with me is probably my upbringing with schooling mainly.
Okay.
So like starting in the Midwest in a smaller town, where do you see yourself like, so you've been everywhere, you've been West Coast, South, which do you like the most and where do you see yourself like, where do you want to retire? Like where you started, you've sampled all the buffet a little bit.
Right.
You haven't been out in New York or East, right?
Well, I've been out in New York City for a vacation. I've been to Boston for a vacation. Great public transportation.
In Boston?
Oh yeah. The Metro.
I've heard great. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, we went all the way up to Salem and then we came back and we almost made it in time to go to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert in Fenway Park. That was the Rammstein trip, which we can talk about later if you wanted to know how a
Get
Rammstein
right into it.
concert
Get right
is.
into it.
Well, I mean, that's covering a different question. Your question was kind of where do I see myself?
Yeah.
So I like Florida a lot.
Oh yeah. Even with all that humidity, huh?
Yeah, it's not the heat that gets you.
No, it's not the heat. It's that humidity.
It's
man.
that humidity.
I'll go to the desert where it's
Texas.
110 degrees before Florida on 85.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Florida, they don't have any income tax, and their property tax is a little lower.
Oh.
But I mean,
that's why people like Florida.
Yeah, that's why you see all of the snowbirds go to Florida. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, my retirement's not going to be taxed. Yeah, I'll go there.
Yeah.
And it's nice.
Oh yeah. So there's
Nice is a strong word for it. I mean, some parts, yeah.
Is outside nice, Sam?
Here?
Right now, yeah. Are you
No.
having a good time?
I certainly wasn't making an argument for here.
There's also
I'll take sweating in the summer over dying in the cold.
I'll give you that.
Literally
I'll give
dying.
it to you. Yeah, like literally, especially literally dying. Yeah.
There was always that question, like, would you rather be cold or hot? And 9 times out of 10, everybody's like, well, I would rather be cold because I can just bundle up to warm up. And I'm like, so you would rather be warm? I'm saying, would you rather be cold?
Yeah. Fixing the cold problem is by being warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the argument is like, you can only take off so many clothes. And I'm always like, I'm uncomfortable when I'm hot. I hurt when I am cold.
My
Put a
dad's the
fucking
same
ice
way.
cube in your mouth and like, yeah, I'd rather wear 18 sweatshirts instead of like, dab my head a little bit.
But that's also if your comparison is one or the other. I mean, like I can never afford to go back to the perfect valley that I lived in California, like that is the most ideal.
What was ideal about it? Like just temper it all the time?
I was saying earlier, it's 75, it's Sonoma County was where I lived there. I don't live there anymore, so I'm not worried about saying it, but and it's like 75 and sunny in August during the day. And it's 75 and sunny in January during the day. And it gets down to maybe like 55 degrees at night. It can get a little chilly. Bring a sweatshirt kind of day.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But like it never, I actually got a little disoriented because of, I came from here where you get seasonal change and everything and it doesn't happen there. So you're just like, it's the middle. It's Christmas, It's
when
February.
did the bad times come?
Yeah. So I could never go back there. But like, if you're saying extreme heat, extreme cold, I would pick extreme heat if it's dry, extreme cold if the heat is humidity, like it would be in Florida.
Okay.
Now again, that's purely on climate. Once you start bringing up money and stuff, like money's more important.
Just off survivability or like if you got to choose,
Right.
Right.
Like Oh yeah, I think I'd pick hot and dry.
Does Florida, does your career come into play at all? Or is it more just the climate and
Oh no,
live?
so like I said, I mean, I'm currently working for NASA. The job that I had previous to that, I was working in defense, and so they have both of that out there, and specifically the Cape Canaveral area where they actually launch the rockets. When I was over there, I mean, I would see them launch rockets, 2-3 times a month.
That's fucking cool.
It never gets old.
Yeah,
never.
I was
gets
gonna
old.
ask that too. Like, so does it ever get like, oh, they're launching another rocket?
They're launching another one.
Cover your ears. Or whatever.
No, it's actually great because one time I was golfing with some of my work buddies, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that they were launching, because I was on the 13th tee, and then you heard, and it's like 3-4 miles down the coastline. You can actually feel it vibrating, and then you're like, oh, then you look up and there it is, and it's like, yeah.
You get it really close on the putt, and you're like, wait.
Wait. Guys, I'm going to be here for...
That counts.
Be here for T minus 12, 11, 10. It does count.
Just hold it.
So there's a specific... Merritt Island, so out in Cape Canaveral. So there's the coastline. There's a little island. It's Satellite Beach is out over there, and then in the middle is Merritt Island, and then you go inland a little bit. That's Rockledge, I believe. So I really liked Merritt Island because it's just right in the middle of everything, but it's pretty expensive because it's in the middle of everything.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah, because it's awesome. And then you're on an island, so your insurance is like, hey man, you're on an island. It's going to cost some money.
Yeah. It's like, you have to pay for that.
But it's not, it's not just me. I mean, my fiance as well, she works doing NASA stuff as well. And
okay.
I think that as long as we kind of stay in the same kind of work, I think we're going to be fine wherever we go.
That's true.
Yeah.
I also like how casually you say, for NASA stuff. Yeah. It's just like... Yeah, she just works for NASA.
It's one of those things where it's like it's that mystique.
Biggest human achievement.
Right. That's nothing. But that's why I asked my initial question, because I feel like it eventually does kind of it becomes as part of his daily life.
Yeah.
So it's a little less mystical.
Yeah. Does the mystique go away with the
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's just you find out how the same it is like every other job that you have. It's like you go into work, there's people that really know what they're doing and they're super awesome at their job, and then there's some people that
phoning it in.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, but
you ever have to deal with any underqualified people that like actually cause real problems?
Oh boy,
like nepotism positions.
Well, I mean, I don't want to badmouth anybody.
Right.
I haven't personally worked with anybody where I'm like, oh my God, I cannot work with this person.
Well, and I meant more like you're worried about them being there rather than like, this person's an asshole. Like, this guy can't do the job.
Like how'd you get here?
Like underqualified.
How are you here?
Yeah.
I will say that it happens less.
Okay, you would think.
than usual. I mean, every job that I had. I mean, when I was in the Air Force, all the time.
Especially
I'm like, oh. Okay, I could tell a story about that. So there was one of my old bosses, not going to use any names. So there's some stupid rules in the military. I don't know if you guys know this.
My dad spent 17 years, so I've heard a few.
So he knows that there's some stupid rules, right? So one of the stupid rules is that you have to wear a reflective belt when you're walking on the road in uniform at night. And I'm like, so there's always this running joke where this reflective belt, if a car's coming at you, it's going to protect you. So me and the guy that ended up being one of my bosses later on in my career, we were walking up, and there was this water tower. So there's a water tower at the end of the bomb dump, and he's like, I was like, oh, you're leaving early, because I had an appointment in the morning, so I worked nights. He's like, yeah, I'm leaving early. He's like, that's my wife up there in the car. And I'm like, oh, under that water tower? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, does she have her reflective belt on? And he's like, no, why would she have a reflective belt on? She's in the car. And I was like, does the car have a reflective belt on? He looked at me like I was stupid. And I was like, well, I hope to God that water tower doesn't fall, because if she doesn't have that reflective belt on,
it's not going to see her.
It's game over.
It's game over.
Game over.
Do you think you can get reflective belt as like a paint job? Like get your whole car in, like with the texture and everything?
I think that's actually a Prime Energy drink flavor, reflective belt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Classic.
So later on, I get pulled from my actual supervisor like 2-3 weeks later, and he pulls me aside. He's like, "Hey, did you say that that so and so you wanted so and so's wife to get hit by a water tower?"
A water tower?
And I was like, and I was very confused. I was like, "What?" And they said, "Well, so and so, he came up and he's like, he told a story about how you were hoping that this water tower fell on his wife's car." And I was like, "No." And then I proceeded to tell him the story I just told you. And he was like, "Yeah, well, my boss told me to talk to you about it, so you've been talked to." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so then I was like, "Now I got to go talk to his boss." And I was like, "What did he say?" And he's like, "Oh man, you wouldn't believe this." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, so he comes up and it just looks like he was just bawling because you crushed his dreams, because you're like, you were willing this water tower to fall on him. And I was like, "No, that's not what happened at all." I proceeded to tell the story, and I was like, yeah, forget about that. And so
it was a joke.
You're like doing measurements and like,
maybe.
Yeah, that will work.
It is an El Nino year, so the winds get kind of high around this area.
Doing the stats.
Funny how words can be so open to interpretation.
Yeah, right. But I had a more professional disagreement with him later, but that's not a fun story.
So, with your time in the military, what has been like, well, one, how many years did you do?
I only did 6 because, like I said, I was just getting in for the education, and I figured out I wanted to be an engineer. So I was like, all right, got to finish this up.
Was there ever any time where you thought about maybe doing the full package? Because the benefits are good, right?
Yeah,
you're talking about the military?
Yeah.
It depends. I mean, for the first 6 months or so, because I was like, yeah, this is it, man. This is what I want to do. And so I kind of learned about commissioning and everything like that. And I was like, ended up not doing it. So the thing with the military is it's great if you're good at it.
Yeah.
If you are good at the military, you're gonna live.
Define good at the military.
So there's fitness standards that you have to worry about, and then you got to be able to do your job well. And then there's also a little bit of being good with people, mostly the people who make the decisions.
Like leadership skills or like
so you have to be good at all 3 of those. So when you see people say that they retire as a master sergeant and stuff like that, that's normal. But when you meet somebody who is a chief, or work their way all the way up, or
they had an aptitude for it, like they were.
Yeah,
my dad was a chief after 12 years in the Navy. Yeah.
I actually
chief
didn't know
and 12.
that.
So his dad was very good at the military.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a great living. I have a friend that made mass tech first time, and then master I think second time, and so he's going to be a chief. Like, who is good very early. I was not good at the military.
I had a few buddies like that. You're not alone, man.
It's not. I like I said, you need to excel in fitness. You need to be good with. You got to talk to the right people and get the right kind of good old boys kind of thing, and you have to be good at fitness. So you fail one fitness test and it's you're suddenly the worst person in the world. And so I failed a fitness test, and
You're like, look, man, I'm just here for the math.
I'm just like, I'm just here to get my education. So the timing of it was I ended up getting a referral EPR because it was just an enlisted performance report. Got a referral for that. So the timing of it, the way it closed out is that I wasn't able to test for staff that cycle, but because I would still have a referral EPR before the testing cycle. So there was 2 tests before my next EPR because they were in the middle of changing how they actually do those. So I wasn't able to test for 2 cycles, which is very bad because now I'm behind all of my peers, since you're behind all your peers, and I'm saying that you can't make it up.
Right.
I just wasn't motivated by that time to make it up because I was already on to the next step. I was already doing my schooling. I was already working on that and going on to do college things. So my mind was on the next step, but that didn't deter me from doing well in my job.
So it was always like a stepping stone to you?
It was always, I mean, there was that 6 month period after I got out of tech school that I was like, I think this is it.
Yeah, but that didn't stick.
That didn't stick.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in your job now do you think they would have, do a lot of people share a similar background where they use the military to get into, NASA or, these contracting jobs?
I don't think so. I really think it's more of an evolution. So everybody joins the military for different reasons.
Yeah.
Right. Some people want to get out into a better situation. Some people didn't have the best upbringing. Some people just want to leave, which was one of the reasons that I wanted to go. I was like, all right. I mean, I've had enough of small city USA. I want to see what else is out there, and that's kind of what my motivation was.
That is one way to do it for sure.
So it
is a ticket straight out of somewhere else,
right?
And there's other people who just join because they don't know what else to do with themselves.
Yeah. And then when you figure it out, you've
sold your soul for the next 4 years or whatever. Yeah.
Then they'll pay for it. So I can't really pinpoint one military person because I've met some incredible people in the military, and they're going on to do great things. And then there's other people where I'm like, yeah,
you're the scum of the earth.
You're here.
Yeah. Somehow you made it.
So, I mean, I kept in touch with everybody that I really wanted to keep in touch with because I'm like, the military, either you're good at it, and I keep in touch with those people and they're doing great and they're going to retire young. They're going to have a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of their life.
I guess, do other people leverage that? Like is the military experience, is it valuable to have it in your field?
Yeah. Okay. So, you do get exposure to a lot of things. You meet a lot of people, and it's a lot about networking. So, it's one of those. It's a bunch of those soft skills, kind of like I was talking about earlier. Is that if you have the right soft skills, and that's not like I did this, here's proof. It's more like a personality thing. Like when you say, I say I'm good with people. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of military people will get into these careers, but they often have an overlap of the skills.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
well, and being good with people will get you into a lot of
things. It could be anything.
A lot of things,
yeah.
Especially if you have another skill to go along with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say the military is a general, you just learn so many background skills that a lot of jobs are like, ooh, yeah, we don't have to teach him that. He just knows that something comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so you know, you're in the reserves. Yes. He's in the reserves, so he gets it too.
How many years have you been in so far?
I only have a year and 3 months left, so not much longer.
And what was your, if you don't mind my asking, your original contract supposed to be for?
Oh, I'm a diesel mechanic.
Well, no, but for the length, right? 4, yeah, okay, because they
technically have 2 after.
Yeah,
so I have 4 years active reserves,
and then 2, and that's what you had to do too.
No, so reserves and active duty are a little bit different.
Okay.
I couldn't speak to much
Right.
of the reserve benefits or anything, so mine was kind of the same thing. You sign when you first sign up, you have an 8-year commitment, right? So it's either 4 years active, and then you'll be IRR or inactive reserves. So I signed up for a 6 years, so I only had 2 years of inactive reserves, which means I get all of the benefits that I could get on base, except I don't have to do anything. So I had base access. I was able to go to the commissary. I was able to go to the BX, and I was able to get discounted Disney tickets.
Oh, there you go.
Which
There you go.
Disney is great when it comes to discounting tickets in the military. So,
Yeah.
What are some other places that you found that?
Being a vet.
Yeah. Like where else do you get to?
so
Disney can't be the only one.
well, no, it's
A lot of
not.
places do veteran
Yeah, a lot
discounts.
of,
Yeah.
you gotta look good. You gotta support the troops,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Do you cash in on that?
Not so much anymore. Like when you go around military communities, a lot of places offer a military discount when it comes to food, and it's usually like 10%.
Do they
Yeah.
ever ask for like a military ID?
No, because a lot of the military, believe it or not, when you have grooming standards that are very, very detailed, look very much alike.
I was about to say, my dad has never once, when he's gotten a military discount on something, never once been asked for proof. They just take one look at him and they're like, yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
At least, and I can't say that for sure, but at least as far as I know, I've ever seen.
You gotta
I
try
caught a
it.
guy with stolen valor at my job because
Dude.
we do military discount as well, and he was wearing a Marines like sweatshirt and like had like a Marines haircut and everything. I was like, hey, just so you know, we do a veterans discount. He's like thought about it for a second, and he was like, I'm actually not. This is my brother's sweatshirt. but you could tell he was like thinking about
Thinking
it.
about
Dude, yeah. And see, that's not cool, man. I actually saw some videos of people like doing
I mean,
that
it's
shit.
fine. I think it's kind of weird that. I mean, I guess it's the same thing as like sports memorabilia. You can wear a Packers jersey even though you don't play for them, but
Well, that's
it's
totally different, I think.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah,
it's kind of weird that we like rep the like civilians.
They want to do it?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like, oh, dude, like I just think the Air Force is tight.
Yeah.
It's like, which
that,
you can.
walking
but
around in a sailor outfit, just like the dress, the dress blues, and it's like, why are you doing that? Are you trying to cosplay our military?
Yeah, you're
right now?
cosplaying.
Like-
You're cosplaying a veteran, a guy,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a real man.
and they don't like that. I'll tell you that right now. That's the thing. It's the veterans, in my experience, who don't like that shit.
Yeah. I mean, like, not that you're the only person that should be able to wear that, but it is a little weird because often your affiliation with whatever branch is an identifier,
Yeah.
Like, would you rock Navy sweatshirts being in the Marines?
Technically, it's a subsidiary. If you
Well,
really
and-
want to look at it that way,
He's got a
the
point.
Marines are a subsidiary of the Navy originally.
But would you,
No.
with the optics of it?
That's also a little different. Wearing a Navy sweatshirt's not stolen valor.
Yeah, right.
Wearing a Navy uniform is.
Sure.
It's when they wear the that's correct me if I'm wrong, but it's when they're wearing the uniform, claiming their military. That's,
Yeah.
That's what I thought anyway.
So I will tell you that all my friends in the military community, when these stolen valor videos come up, it's mostly hysterical.
Yeah,
It's because it's
they're
so
so-
obvious.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so obvious. Like how they dress, it's like, well, that pin doesn't go there. You're wearing those boots.
It's
And
like
you're-
stereotypical. Like
Yeah,
they're
well-
trying like so hard.
And real vets take one look, and it's like you get knocked big if you put a pin in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they know right away. It's
Yeah.
like that's wrong.
yeah.
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
something's wrong. Yeah.
The wrong order can mean everything.
Yeah.
If you look at a pin set and you're like, oh, well, why is your basic training pin in the middle? Like that.
Yeah, that's not where that goes. Yeah.
Pretty sure that's how it plays.
And so you guys just sit around and laugh when you see those kinds of videos.
Yeah, I mean, we go for the comments because
Oh, yeah.
because I mean, some of the funniest people you meet are in the military.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of dark humor when it comes to those kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, it's more of a laugh for me personally when I see those videos because it's just so obvious. And it's obvious because the caption is stolen valor. And it's like, oh, no shit.
Yeah.
You were a tech sergeant and you commanded a whole battalion?
Right.
Damn, your leadership had a lot of confidence.
Wow.
I was actually there when they were hunting Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
You should have fucking seen it, man.
Seen it.
You guys haven't or meet anyone in the military that like was legit military, but talked a lot bigger
Oh yeah, that's a
game
good question.
than they were, you know? Because my dad knew a few guys like that.
You're like the
They acted like they were Navy SEALs or Black
who's
Ops.
the
and
older
it's
brother or like uncle or whatever in Napoleon Dynamite that's like, oh, I used to be able to throw a pigskin. Like, is there like any guys that are like, paper pushers now? They're like, oh man, you should have seen me out there.
I don't know how people act outside, but you knew who you were working with.
Right,
It's
right.
like every single day. So that's when they talk about the camaraderie, like when you get out of the military, you're used to having the same group of people always. And so that's how I met a lot of my good friends.
Right.
Is I would just be at work and I'm like, what are you doing later? Because I knew exactly what he was doing later.
Yeah,
Because-
I actually have your schedules.
Yeah, I know exactly. You are not busy. I know that for a fact. You're not going to see your family because they live in Nebraska.
Right. Right.
You're here in Louisiana. So I met a lot of friends like that. It wouldn't be uncommon. Like there was one time where we wanted to do a crawfish boil. And so I just texted a few of my friends. It's like, hey, we're doing a crawfish boil. And it takes about 5 hours to actually put it all together, prepare everything, and cook the crawfish. And I had like 7-8 people there that night. We started eating at like 9-10 o'clock. And I was like, all right, well, I'll see you at work tomorrow. But when you get out, man, you actually meet people who have families living nearby. So
Right.
and
Normal people.
Yeah, like normal people. And so it's so hard to make friends outside of the military because by the time you get out, you're meeting all these people that are already established. They already have their routines. They already have their friend group. And you're the 20, 26, 27-year-old guy going, you guys want to go out to play?
Yeah.
Y'all want to have a drink?
You never had to like flex those skills or whatever because
I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if any of the people I work with do that. But if they did, I would kind of laugh at them. But I mean,
I think it's hard just as an adult in general. Like no matter where you're at or like what you do for a job, it's weird to be like, I don't know, because you grow up with your friends or you have coworkers or something. So you just kind of make do and pick your friends. But it's really hard being an adult, not meeting somebody at a bar or like, I don't know, like where do you meet people? Like a book club, you know, it's hard to.
Well, and like, go ahead.
I was going to say it's different for you too because you skipped that college experience,
Right.
college age,
Right.
Yeah.
where you meet a lot of lifelong friends.
Yep.
You skip that to be in the military where you met people, but hey, when that's done, they're going back home or somewhere different. They're not going to be there every day with you anymore, you know? So you have to like
Exactly.
reintroduce yourself to society again. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, you just skip those good years of finding people.
Exactly. The thing I was going to say was relevant to the same thing is like once you went straight after high school.
Yeah.
And so he goes from being a kid pretty much to having not every single day, but most of the hours of most of the days of his life planned out for him.
Yeah.
And then he's just dumped back into society in his mid-20s like, okay.
Yeah, it like
function
Here you
function
go.
properly.
Yeah.
I think it applies to anybody too, unless you have like a niche hobby or something. I think it's hard for adults to make friends without coming off weird or.
There definitely does come a time. Yeah. Especially when you're not in the same, doing the same things as all the people that you're.
Yeah, if you don't have like a very social job, like a lot of people work, behind a desk or they don't, especially with work at home nowadays, like my wife, she doesn't see any of her coworkers. She has no opportunity to how do you just
really
meet
get
people?
out and socialize with new people or even
Like, it's so awkward to be like, I like that pesto too, at the grocery store or something. Like,
yeah.
dude, we should hang out sometime. We can bring some pesto over.
That's fair.
And, it's like, what the fuck? Get away from me.
What's your favorite non-pornographic magazine to jerk off to? Good Housekeeping.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, let's say.
And that's in the potatoes aisle, the produce aisle.
But I think all relationships, strong relationships, are based off of shared experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is why when I still keep in contact with many of my high school friends, and even if I find one just walking down the street, which would be kind of surprising, because I live way far away now, I'd be like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? But other than that, I can say, oh yeah, remember that teacher in 7th grade when they made us do that one project? And be like, yeah. And then it just kind of goes from there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, with personal experience. But meeting somebody entirely new is hard because
exactly.
it's like people are kind of guarded nowadays, it seems too. It's like I'm a little bit more hesitant from somebody being like, just trying to make conversation. You think somebody's got an angle or whatever.
And I think, COVID could have had a little bit of an impact on that too.
100%.
People are just much more antisocial.
100%. Like,
yeah.
What year did you get out of the military?
2017.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2011, did my 6 years and got out. And there's two phrases from that I picked up from the military. One is, the best decision I ever made in my life was joining the military. The second best decision I ever made in my life was getting out.
Was not staying.
Getting out. So, I do enjoy some veteran benefits, and I don't ever really talk bad about the military in that way. Like, if you go get your benefits, go do what you need
gamed
to do.
the system and like
I don't know if I gamed the system.
Yeah.
Well, like you took advantage of all the things that were offered to you, and you didn't feel like you needed to.
And that, I suppose, is one form of gaming the system. Yeah.
Well, you're just taking advantage of what's available.
Well, I would think gaming the system is knowing,
like cheating.
The
The
thing is I didn't know anything about. I didn't know that I had benefits getting out of the military. I had no idea. I thought,
just stumbled into good opportunities.
I think that I'm kind of lucky that way. It's
hell yeah.
The only one that I knew that I was going to get was schooling. I didn't know I was going to get 0%, zero down in low interest loans for my house.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have a house if I didn't have that. When you go into federal jobs, you automatically get a couple of bonus points because you were in the military. So there's been a lot of work to kind of help them out. So when you say like, it's your mid-20s, okay, go function in society. They give
you some tools.
They give you tools to do it, and you need to reach out to your local VA representative. If you're one of those people that are just kind of stuck, because you might find something to leverage, right?
That's a good message too, especially if there are any vets who listen, like, and you're feeling that way. Like,
where they're at, like, now what?
Now what?
And I know VA math can be a little funky sometimes, but it's my dad actually finally he just last year got 100% disability.
Damn. I know. He's living the life. Retired E9 with 100% disability.
Yeah, it just happened.
I would deliver pizzas too if my dad was rolling like that.
Yeah, well, I don't get it. That just happened last year, and I don't get anything from it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which, I wouldn't ask for it, but I am glad that he finally got, because he'd been working on it for years. You guys would know as well as anyone. It could take a while to do that stuff, especially.
Yeah.
He had some help, though.
Go ahead, man.
You said that is a kind of weird thing that people will brag about their disability.
That is weird.
Because of how hard it is to get.
Those are the people that get to brag about it, though. Like,
I mean, I've seen people fighting to get disability over things that they shouldn't have got it in the first place.
Right.
Because extra money, and I mean, they're not going to say no if they get that extra money.
Yeah. Like,
the experience that I had.
In his case, he deserves it. He didn't, like, slip on some jelly at Walmart or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no.
Well, if you do that while you're enlisted, then yeah, because you're on duty 24/7, you absolutely deserve
that's the
that
thing.
disability.
Oh, that's true.
One of the things they were able to do
Okay,
is service-connected disability. Was they were able to connect all the problems because he's got a lot of them, and I can't actually, because we're on camera, I can't say the specifics.
Yeah,
I would tell you
that's
guys about
fine.
it after, but like, yeah, some of it was like, it's pretty bad. You know, he still has issues from some of that
Yeah.
stuff today. He's been working full-time in society ever since he quit the military
Yeah.
too.
So I mean, I'm sure you don't just they're not just handing that out.
Well, and
know?
it takes a while. Like, you guys know how the math works, where it's like you start at this percentage and then you get 10% of the remaining percentage.
That's right, yeah.
Based on, so like it's a fucking journey to try to
Yeah.
like get all the way there.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally did it last year. He's 64. He got out when he was 35 or some shit. You know, it took a long. I mean, you know, he wasn't doing it all the 30 years or whatever, but you know,
Yeah.
there was a good long stretch
Final
of
boss.
time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably during his time, he didn't have all the tools that are available. Like now, when you get out,
Exactly.
they have a thing called TAP, Transition Assistance Program. Military loves their acronyms. Any government entity I'm figuring out loves their acronyms. So they're doing better now. I
think that's part of why they were able to figure it. So I don't know all the details, but like he had a friend from a guy who actually another vet who lives down in Texas. But he helped him figure it out because he's been in the military more recently, and I think he actually finished his full 25 years, whatever it was.
Damn.
Because my dad had to leave for a dizziness problem.
Yeah.
That was probably their fault. You know? But like that guy was much more savvy with the VA and all the numbers and stuff, and it went really well. It's something I told Mike about like 2 months ago when it happened. It was a really good thing, and I was really happy to hear it because the VA, they can be a little tough to deal with at times.
Yeah.
And again, I'm glad to hear they're doing better, that they have like better programs.
They're doing better. Whether or not you like the guy or not, you know, Donald Trump did do a lot for the veterans.
Did he?
But I'm not going to talk about politics. Just in that specific thing, I will say that he did a very good job when it comes to veterans and veteran benefits.
All right, so moving on from the military, you mentioned crawfish boil earlier,
I
and
did.
you know, you said you had like 7, 8 people over. It takes those turn into like a miniature little friend party on their own. You know, there was a couple times like the bag broke, and so the crawfish were alive running around. We were just waiting, and like, oh, I guess it's no harm in just letting them hang out there while we're waiting to throw them in.
Give them a couple good last moments.
yeah, let them all hang out, and then we
Let
just
them think that they can get away.
throw them in an empty bucket.
Yeah.
And dump them in.
One of my friends, he was sick. He always saved one crawfish, and he put him right above him as he watched all of his friends go in there, and he just sat there and watched it, and then he's like, boop.
Oh,
You get to
God.
join- so he would torment him.
Yeah,
before.
yeah, it's sadistic. I'm like, come on.
I'm just as bad. I mean, I would let them fight each other.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, and they wouldn't fight each other, but you know, you just put two, and like they do, and they like, you know, they see each other and they do that stuff.
Is this what you want? Is this how I get free? I'm sorry, Phil. We have to fight.
Right? It's awful. It's awful. We don't promote cockfighting here. Wise words with Dodo.
Craw fighting, we're fine with.
Craw fighting.
Do you think that could catch on in Louisiana?
Craw fighting?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's...
Like, I got a big motherfucker here. You ain't going to beat him.
Well, first of all, that's a Texas accent.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right?
I've been to neither.
But no, I'm pretty sure craw fighting is Louisiana's pastime. So it's not a matter of.
I used to be
if
in a
they
league,
do.
actually.
It's how long
Right.
it's going to go on before it's really monetized, like slap fighting.
Right.
Yeah.
They're getting there, though. They're working on it. You
Yeah.
know, the ones with the big ass claws and everything.
What happens if someone brings a lobster?
That's a whole nother division. That's like a weight class.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the heavyweight division.
Yeah. But they're welcome. You know, we don't discriminate. All shellfish can fight in this.
What's the smallest, like, crawdads are the medium or like,
Man, I don't.
Shrimp?
You can have
shrimp.
Shrimps are pretty
Dude,
small.
Shrimp fights
But
has
see,
a
you
good
can-
ring to it too.
You can definitely shrimp fighting.
Shrimp fights. Sunday night.
Welcome
shrimp
to the
fights.
20.
Shrimp that break the sound barrier when they punch.
Hell yeah.
Was it pistol shrimp or
Pistol
something?
shrimp.
Yeah.
The sound barrier when they punch. So like shrimp fighting could be a pretty catastrophic.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they kill their prey because they're going so fast. It actually heats up the water around them and kills them.
Oh wow, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things you find scrolling through Facebook.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
so hyper boils the water, and the water is what kills them. Not even necessarily in.
Oh, dude, that's clean. I like that.
It's just like a time lapse of like tiny little bubbles in the water until one just floats above.
There's also a sense of irony because we boil shrimp,
Yeah.
and so they
They're
boil
just getting
their
it ready
food.
for us.
Well, they boil their food is what was being said, right?
But like, is
Holy
there a
shit,
point where
dude.
they could?
Yeah.
Is there a point where they could do it so much that they boil each other?
Well, I mean, they're not. I guess.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
I don't
pistol
think
shrimp.
so. Because
Yeah.
if it comes from them, they probably aren't.
They snap. They have one larger hand. I have a picture for you guys.
Yeah.
They snap so hard that it creates that boiling water. It kind of shoots the boiling water.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a marine biologist, Michael.
I think we're just gonna have to try it on this first Sunday at Shrimp Fights. So
Shrimp fighter.
what will happen?
But
Hopefully-
in back on the actual crawfish boil. So
Back
So,
to the
like,
topic. At
how
hand.
spicy do you like? You like spicy?
I like spicy. Growing up, my dad told me I would eat jalapenos,
Me
and
too.
that's probably why my gut is so messed up.
Uh-huh.
So
Did you ever eat have you ever eaten a pepper off the vine?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that.
no,
It
I'm
can
not.
really mess with your stomach.
Yeah, it does. It does mess. I mean, anything. I found out it's the vinegar-based hot sauce. Like, so Tapatio, that's water-based. Cholula, water-based. I can handle that just fine. But then you give me like, what's vinegar-based? Tabasco, maybe.
Tabasco, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not a fan of Tabasco.
Like, even if I have a little bit, I mean, I still feel a little uncomfortable.
yeah.
And then there's days where I'm like, I want something very spicy. What do I got going on the rest of the day?
yeah.
What's going on tomorrow?
What's my schedule?
Yeah, so I really have to plan around eating spicy food. But yes, I do like spicy food.
Yeah, I go extra spicy with the crawfish.
Yeah.
Just douse it in cayenne.
Well, you're in Texas now, so have you been indulging in some good like Tex-Mex?
Oh yeah. So where I'm at, Houston it's so diverse. They have a Chinatown, which at first I thought was a racist term, but it's not because the city is called Chinatown. And then they're like, well, why don't they call that Asian Town? I'm like, because that's 3 miles west in Asia Town.
Yeah.
It's like because they have an Asian.
They have an Asia Town. But what I saw is that Houston's actually the most blended as it goes to percentages with different races. So I mean, I have access to any type of food except Chicago style pizza. They have one place that's there, and then I was like, this is ridiculous. This isn't Chicago style pizza.
Right.
Which is the only thing that the North seems to get right is
Yeah.
pizza.
That's it.
No,
Yeah.
nobody's like, hey man, let's go get a Birmingham pizza. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
what's that?
Oh man, you haven't had. I really have a craving for some Boise, Idaho pizza.
That's in the North, Michael.
Well, I'm just saying, like it's
New
not a-
York style pizza,
New York style.
Detroit style
Yeah.
pizza, Brooklyn style pizza. There's actually a pizza place nearby because there's a guy from New York called.
That's when it's usually
Yeah.
good. It's when someone from the area is
Yeah.
like, I got the genuine recipe right here.
like when I told people like, do you want like when they first come, I just want something simple because I don't cook. I was like, do you want to get some pizza? And they're like, pizza? And I was like, no. Do you want some pizza?
Yeah.
There's
Like
a
real
difference.
pizza.
There's a difference.
We're not talking about that cardboard shit you probably think we're talking
We're not
about.
talking about Domino's.
Right.
Yeah.
We're talking about pizza.
We're talking about real pizza.
We're talking
food.
about Dan's Pizza.
Yeah.
The South doesn't have a pizza, does it?
No.
Really. Their thing is Cajun and
Yeah.
spice.
Yeah, they got everything.
They have
else.
everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah.
I was just
But
telling
you're right. Pizza's not one that they.
not that they've claimed, nobody I mean, barbecue, that's pretty southern, unless you're talking Kansas City.
That's like not deep, not so much deep south, right? We're thinking more like Tennessee area.
Yeah.
And that's where I had the best barbecue, was Tennessee. And I don't think much.
Man, I had Memphis barbecue, and I had one of my coworkers, because I know a lot of people, he actually went to college in Memphis. And so I was like, all right, I travel for food. And when I was living in Louisiana, I was about 5 hours from Memphis. And I was like, I want some Memphis barbecue. So I went out there and I was like, hey, where's the best place to go? And he said, go to Central Barbecue on Central, like the original Central Barbecue. And I'm telling you, man, I wasn't impressed. I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. See, the place I went to, I don't remember what it was called. I went with a girlfriend, and it was just like this hole in the wall place.
Yeah.
And it was like, it had like a ghetto ass sign, like, we have barbecue.
Yeah.
We went in, we each got some, some stuff off. It was pretty packed too. Yeah. And it was just amazing.
I think that's typically the best spots where it's just like a guy that doesn't have any social media. Just like Sal's been doing barbecue forever.
For 80 years.
Yeah.
Guy's only 29.
I don't know. Maybe I just went on a bad day.
That could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, and was it a chain place, or was it like a?
I don't know. I'd have to.
Sometimes big chain places, like for example, Buffalo Wild Wings, right? I actually like some stuff from Buffalo Wild Wings, but depends. You got to go to the right one.
That's true.
It's.
Have you been to Terry Black's?
Terry Black's, no.
It's in Austin.
Is that the brisket dude?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of the best like barbecue places.
Yeah, that
period.
Has a big line. He has a master class, which is which why would you pay for that?
I mean, I know somebody right now who would. Yeah.
So barbecue there, the best. But when we went to Memphis, even though the barbecue, maybe it was a bad day. Maybe I went to the wrong place.
And it could have been the wrong place.
Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe I'm the problem.
Is amazing. Yeah.
But there was a place called Gus's World Famous Fried Chicken, and my God, was it so good. It was the best chicken place I've ever had. And the second best chicken place I've ever had was Flav's Fried Chicken. Remember when he opened one up in Iowa?
Tell me the story about this.
It was so good, man. So when we found out that Flav was opening up a restaurant in Iowa
when was that?
To sell fried chicken, was it 2010? Maybe?
Something around there.
It was in that time frame.
And you know Flava Flav?
I know who that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got there, and they had a bunch of murals around the wall, and it was, him drawn, and all of the clocks, were there.
Of course.
If I remember correctly, maybe I'll add this for some flair. All the clocks said 4:20, so he knew what time it was.
Oh, yeah.
Either I remember that, or I kept saying it to the point where it's now the gospel truth.
Yeah. It doesn't matter either way.
The murals said 4:20, but you go there, it was cash only. They had a DJ going.
It was really cash only. That's awesome.
Was. So I went there 3 times. So the first time I went there, I didn't see him. And I was like, is Flava Flav here? And he's like, no, he's actually delivering right now. And I was
whoa.
So the question was, he pulls up, and at this time, a $40,000 car was pretty expensive.
Right.
Like, he pulls up in a $40,000 Beamer. Like, do you tip Flava Flav? Does he need $3?
Yeah.
Does he, like, if he comes up, he's like, well, Flava Flav. I'm like, thanks for the chicken, Flav. Here's for your time.
Right.
Yeah.
See, as a fellow delivery driver, the answer to that question is no.
No.
The benefit of getting him is, I don't gotta tip this guy.
That's true.
Yeah,
Because you can't give him $3. You either have to do like $20,
and I'm not doing
or
that.
nothing.
Like, I got to show that I can ball out. I'm living in Midwest and Iowa. You know how we ball.
Yeah. Right.
So he was there that time, and the food was so good. And I went a second time, and this time he was actually back there cooking the chicken.
Damn.
But he had this big dude. He was the security guard, obviously. And he was a huge dude, and you could see right back there. And he was putting it together. He was cooking the chicken, and it was so good. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go a third time. I go there a third time. He wasn't working. He wasn't there, and it was garbage. And then it shut down because he was having tax problems because he was paying all of his people in cash.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess he knew how to make good chicken, but he did not know how to run a business.
If only he had somebody to like be the business side for him.
You would think
he's got the
would.
clocks,
Yeah.
he's got the chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
He just needed the
He's got
finan-
the DJ. He's got the murals.
You know the chicken's good if you have a security guard.
Well, I think that
That was
was
because of the cash only business.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, there wouldn't be any cash to
That's true.
have
That's true.
only if the
That's
chicken
true.
sucked. Like,
right. If they were getting business, there'd be no cash. That's a fair
right.
point.
like if there was $40 in the till, you don't need Bubba there. Like,
the till.
like
Needs the till. So Gus's Fried Chicken, great chicken. If you're ever in Memphis, go there. Tell him I sent you. And he'll be like, who?
yeah,
I'll go.
I'm
I
gonna
might
say
never be
that
in
too.
Memphis, but if I do, I'll go.
I mean, I would go back to Memphis solely for Gus's Fried Chicken.
Well, then maybe I'll make it a stop sometime. I once in a while, I mean, maybe not these days. Might not be going so much in the future, but, you know, a lot of trips to Louisiana because I had family down there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean-
and Memphis isn't exactly on the way, but
it's not too far
out of the way.
How
Yeah.
far?
Oh,
What's
you
the
know,
detour on that?
It's I mean, it's hours.
Yeah,
But-
I would say it probably adds about 5 hours to your
Okay.
trip.
Which when you think about it isn't that much.
It's not
like
that
it's
much.
a 15-hour trip.
Gus better be there, man. If you do 5 hours,
Gus better actually be there.
for the chicken.
You better sign my chicken.
Yeah,
All I can think of is Pollos Hermanos now.
yeah.
Gus Fring.
Yeah, I guess so.
Gus's chicken.
Gus's
Something
chicken.
about that chicken.
It was good, man.
Damn good.
It was so good. So
All right, so should we move on to advice? All right, so it says, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self? It says, turning 18 in 24 hours and 51 minutes. Would love to hear people's experience. It's pretty simple.
yeah, I got some experience with that. Let's
Right.
see. I turned 18 once.
I did that once too.
And I'm not now.
So I guess this question is, before I was thinking that this question is, the question up there, and then he's wondering 18. All right, so
Say, go both. Yeah, go ahead.
we'll go both. So if I was turning 18 and I was going back in a time machine to tell myself what to do, it's a no-brainer. Invest in Bitcoin. I wouldn't be working right now. I would probably be doing whatever I wanted. But more on a serious note,
Right.
something that I always do nowadays is because back. We talked a little bit about it, back in high school, you think you know more than what you do. You don't know as
Anything.
much as you think you do. So my rule of life has always been, at this point, I wouldn't say always, is never, ever be the smartest guy in the room. There's something you can learn from anybody. And it doesn't matter how smart they are. It doesn't matter how dumb they are. They know something that you do not, and it will benefit you in the future. That's something I would tell myself when I was 18.
That's really good.
That's really good. That's really good advice.
Probably better than anything we've given on the show so far.
Yeah, damn it.
Oh, sorry. I'll let
No,
you guys
that's
go
good.
first next time.
Right.
I was gonna say, I don't know, pack an extra rubber. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, and don't waste too much time, because when I was 18, I was like, I got all the time in the world. I'm gonna take some time off. I ended up doing that before I went to California, and it was like I shouldn't have. I should have gotten into something, if it not necessarily college, but just I don't know, just goofing off, and
I think, yeah.
because that's also what I would tell myself. It's the same advice I would give them, is just don't waste your time.
I would just add to that, and I think we're kind of in the same wavelength here, is kind of hone in or try to find a passion or get to know yourself. And don't think you have everything figured out already.
Right, exactly.
And,
We can't really top that, but
but get to know yourself, because if you kind of, in my early years, 18 to 21, I kind of fought, I was two people, until I kind of got a little bit older and realized who I was. And if you can try to achieve realizing who you are at 18, life's going to be awesome, because by the time you're 30, you're going to be already such a high level version of yourself, you know. Try to find a passion and really think about what you want out of life.
The only thing I'd add is like find out who your real friends are and like just stick with them, because like that can be a major thing too. Like not all your high school friends you're gonna be so big with after high school. You know, everyone's gonna go their separate ways. But like once you find your group, like you'll know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. On to the next one. And best of luck to you.
One thing I will say about that one, though, if we could switch like the premise of that at all, like if I could go back to being 18 with everything I know currently.
But it's right now, like it's 2024. Or
No, it's
2011?
then. Yeah.
No,
that would be the things I would do. I would drink baby's blood to get that ability.
I've actually wanted to write a story of like a 30-year-old guy spiraling back in time into his 10-year-old body, and it's when he was 10. I don't know. You know,
and then
I think
you
it'd
just
be
start
funny.
over. You start over.
Yeah,
entirely.
but with the intelligence of a 30. So like it would start out funny with his mom. Like just his parents would be like, "What the fuck is going on with you? You are way too intelligent." You know what I mean? It's just regular conversations and stuff would be like really weird.
It would probably be kind of hard too, because you'd be like, "Fuck, I can't Google that." Like,
well, you know, it depends on who. I guess. I mean, you know. Yeah.
Or, you know, like it would be hard because you're used to certain things now.
Having like a smartphone and stuff. Yeah. You'd have to go back.
I would still be addicted to nicotine in my 18-year-old body.
Right.
Well, have you ever seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
I don't think so.
It's where this guy
Similar.
ages in reverse, and so he's born like as an 80-year-old man.
Oh,
and then he gets younger and younger and younger, and he had this childhood friend, and then she's getting older and older, and he's getting younger and younger, and then the whole premise is eventually they're gonna
be about the same age.
Yep, and then he's gonna start going back, and then he's gonna be a baby. It's a cool premise movie. I mean, I seen it once, so I guess it wasn't worth a second watch.
Yeah, it's a cool premise though. It's a pretty good flick.
There's like an episode of Fringe that's kind of like that too, and that concept is okay. You know, it's a little different than what I was talking about. Yeah, it seems just a little bit like, what do you do once they get to the baby? Do they turn into a fetus and then a sperm and then just shrivel up into nothing? I mean, that comes from somewhere.
Rip a hole in the universe as you like keep getting smaller and smaller. And
right, exactly. I just wouldn't know where to go with that story.
Right.
All right, so next advice. All right. When someone sends you a song they think you'll like, but you actually hate it, do you give your opinion or no?
No, it says or nah.
Or nah.
Or nah.
And this is under the social skills subreddit. As someone who's probably sent you or referred you to music that sucks,
I guess it depends who's sending it.
Yeah.
If it's somebody, like if it's my friends, I'm going to tell you your music and your taste in music is horrible.
Yeah.
Because I've done it.
So if you work with a guy and they're like, "Oh, you're like a cool guy. You're going to love this. It's a Whitesnake cover band and they play it all on spoons."
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. So you're not gonna be honest.
And then it says, but you actually hate it. They send you a song, you think you'll like it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give everything a chance. But I mean, I'm pretty forward and honest. Like if I'm not gonna see them, maybe I'll be a little sarcastic. Like, oh man, this is so good, dude.
Maybe this person's a little small-minded. Maybe you actually would like it if you gave it a
fair
chance. It's an acquired taste.
Well, that's usually my attitude. That's the thing. It's like I was kind of saying earlier, like I don't actually hate a lot of songs. I know there's a lot of songs out there. It's like, that one's not as good, you know. But if someone sends me a song and I didn't like it as much, I probably won't tell them like, I might tell them like, oh yeah, that one was okay, you know, but if I hated it, I will be honest. I'll be like, no, man, don't ever send me that shit again.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what I want to listen to.
This ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
What if it's a significant other? What would your viewpoints be there? A significant other sending you a song they think you're really going to enjoy, and you hate it.
Well,
That's a good.
That twist on it.
That's. So Mary and I listen to very, very, very different music, and I never shit on it. Like, in fact, I try to listen to it very openly because it's like it does something for her.
Yeah.
In the same way that what I listen to does something for me, but it doesn't. I've even actually asked her, I've been like, is this doing anything for you? Because I'm fucking hyped up right now. Like, but she's like, no, I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
But that's, you
See, and
have to say it at least once. Like, it'd be like, nah, this isn't my thing, and then respect the differences.
I've definitely had that situation, girlfriends before, and usually like because they and there've been a couple times where like they love that country music, that stuff, that stadium country music stuff, and instead of being harsh, like because I hate it, I hate that shit. Like I do not want to hear it if I can help it, and so I'll be nice though. I'll be like, oh yeah, it's just not really my thing,
Yeah.
If you want to play it, I've gotten a little better about it, but it's like, can we find? Because that's the thing, my tastes are so wide open. Aside from pretty much that, it's like, can you find anything? Let's listen to some Taylor Swift. Let's do that all day. You know what I mean? Like,
Find a bridge.
Something that they'll love that just doesn't drive me
a
crazy.
A mediator.
A medium.
Yeah.
Country Taylor Swift is what you're looking for.
Even that is like, even hers, because it doesn't have that same sound to it. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I think we could make you a popular country artist.
Probably.
Dude, you have to look.
It's not that hard.
The look?
Yeah, like
put a cowboy hat on.
I don't know if you ever saw Parks and Rec,
Parks and Rec,
where they have Bo Burnham on, and he's like playing a prevalent country artist, and basically they just slick his hair to the side, and they just put a cowboy hat on him, and like a button-up shirt with like checkers and like just tight,
Yeah, exactly. I have a plaid shirt that I intend to wear for an episode someday. So get a cowboy hat. I'll put it on.
Yeah, and he talked just normal, and then when he was like on stage, he
went super
support the troops, and
he's got a good voice for it. I saw the parody he did of country songs. And he nails it. He can do that voice.
I think we could TikTok country star you, like. I think we could.
Vote in the comments section.
Yeah.
So
do we do that?
So when you put the significant other twist, it's been my understanding, honesty's the best policy. If your significant other shows you some music and you don't like it, it's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Saying you hate it
is a little strong.
Isn't like, it's not shit. As long as you don't shit on it. It's like, why would you like it? What are you fucking whatever? Like
I went and
don't do that.
I mean, for example, like my fiance, like she likes country music, and when we first started dating, like I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't like country music, but there's a couple of songs where it's like, hey, this song reminds me of you, and then I'll listen to it, and I'll listen to the lyrics. And when it comes to music, I think the most important thing is lyrics, which is why Lil Yachty's trash. But there's been some country songs that I do like of hers, and then she's a big Taylor Swift fan as well, and it's pretty much understood. Like when we're in her car, we listen to her music.
There's that too.
And when we're in my car, we listen to my music, and she never complains about it, and we mostly joke. Like rib each other all the time when it comes to that stuff, but that's just part of
that's fine. Yeah,
that's the fun part about it.
Yeah, I mean, it does different things for different people, so it's okay.
Yeah. And again, like you said, and I feel like being more gentle about it, being like, yeah, that's just not my cup of tea. That's being honest enough, I mean, and there are, and that's the thing, like, and there are some country songs. He's even showed me a couple. That if I hear them and they don't sound too like, and I even like some Willie Nelson songs. I like John Denver. My mom listened to some of that stuff when I was growing up, so I have reasons to like them. But it's like you won't find them on my playlist. Maybe the one that he He showed me one. I can't remember exactly what the artist was.
Coulter Wall.
Yeah. And that was actually good, And so it's not like as a rule I refuse to listen to country music, but when you're like, I got a new country song, it's like,
you're not putting on a country playlist.
Right.
Like in your leisure time.
Yeah, if you haven't heard, you should check out a country artist called Wheeler Walker Jr. I think you'll like him.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of good stuff.
Okay. I'm familiar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
He's really good.
Cool.
Tell him how much you hate it when after you listen.
Yeah,
to it. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Tell me. Yeah,
if I do hate it, I'll be honest.
I don't think you will though. I think Wheeler Walker Jr. transcends music itself.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna stand on that hill.
Cool.
That's the flag I'm planting.
Yeah.
That's gonna be on my tombstone. Wheeler Walker Jr. transcends music.
Hey, it works, man.
I think like right before you die, you should change your name to Wheeler Walker Jr. Jr.
the third.
Or the second. Yeah. Wheeler Walker Jr. the second.
The second.
All right. One more, and then we'll let you guys go. But you have to deal with us one more, okay?
All right. Now, this one's a little longer. It says, does life get better? I'm a married college grad. We both have full-time jobs that pay decent, but I live for the weekends. I feel like my whole life I've been saying, if I can just do X, Y, Z, then things will be better and I'll be happier. But no matter how hard I try to live in the moment, I waste my days working to just make enough to live in this economy. Home ownership seems to be out of the question. Student loans are piling up with interest and no hope of being forgiven. Is this what the rest of my life is going to be like? How do people have time to do anything other than just survive? The thought that this is my forever is just hard to stomach. Okay, so the thing whenever I'm sorry, I know normally I want to kick it off to you, but the thing that comes to mind with this, and I know it's easy to say this, but a lot of it could have to do with where you're living. It doesn't say where they live.
Yeah.
I know that the same kind of apartment that you could pay, $600 a month for in one place will cost $2,400 in another place.
I feel you.
So maybe it's a matter of location. I just wanted to throw that out there because it could be as simple as that.
And then it could be,
It could be a million other things.
They're a college grad, so maybe their job market for what
requires them to be where they are.
Yeah, it could be something like that. There's a lot to unpack.
Then is it worth it if it's requiring you to be there, but it's barely paying you enough to survive and eating up all your time?
So there's somebody in my personal life that like this is the exact case, and like I tell them, like you do just have to kind of be thankful for what you have, because you can always wanting more. That never stops.
Yeah.
Because like
as soon as we get what we want something else.
The fact that you have like anything should be some point of baseline gratitude, because if you're just always looking at what does my life need? What do I need? What else can I have? You'll never be satisfied.
Yeah.
Like being satisfied with your current position, and it's good to have goals. It's good to like want to aspire to new things. But if you're always like in a state of unhappiness, unless you get that one thing, like, if I just had a better car, or if I had more money, this and that, that logic or that line of thinking will never stop.
And that's apparently what they've been saying their whole life. So
yeah. And I guarantee they have things to be thankful for.
Yeah. I say that maybe they need to, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they need to change that line of thinking.
And they're
altogether.
asking, is this life? If you choose it,
yeah.
Like, I bet you have family, friends that, appreciate you. The fact that you even got to go to college is great. You know, you have student loans, but dude, everybody's broke. Like, no, like, and even
if your goal is to get rich, you might want to change your goals too.
Exactly. It's like, I think you're looking at typical like checkpoints. Like, this is successful life. Of whatever, like you're looking at other people's goals to like be like, I don't have that, so why can't I have that? That's not a way to live. Why don't you just like you try to do with what you have, like live
well, like he was saying, and just you were able to go to college. I'm noticing you're married, and if you have a warm or cooled off, depending upon wherever the hell you are, place to go at night. Maybe not owning a house isn't such a big deal. Maybe just the fact that you and your loved one have a place to go at all is one of those things to be grateful for.
You're married, bro. You have a degree. Like,
yeah. You're not an idiot.
You're choosing to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Like a simple, it's not simple, but a perspective flip could bring a lot of fulfillment to your life. Like,
yeah.
You could, I feel like a lot of people in their like, a lot of people could look at this and be like, I wish I had that life.
yeah.
Well, like a lot of
Right,
people
exactly.
have less than this. So like maybe they should just respect what they've actually, what they do have, just to read it.
It's
honestly
an infection of the mind because you can always compare up. Like, you can always be like, oh, I'm not doing as well as that person or this and that. And
I was about
like,
to say, if I was comparing myself to this person, it's like, well, I'm not married, I'm not a college grad, and I'm just as fucked when it comes to living the whole paycheck to paycheck
do you
thing.
feel anxiety about somebody in the world doing better than you?
Not at all. Because
Exactly.
there's so many of them.
Because you're choosing to like not angle success or happiness in that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a
little
prerequisite for
bit.
you to be happy
Not
to
at all.
have these things. It's not.
And, you know, maybe it's a mental health case. Doesn't seem like you said anything about
It's
it.
tied into it.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think that this is
Because they also didn't say
this is
what
an
they're
unhealthy thought pattern, and I see it a lot. So, like, sorry if I'm getting a little heated about it, but like, it's so cliche to be like live in the moment. And I know they said they've tried, but really, do these things or like your goals and stuff make you happy?
doing. Yeah.
I mean, you can live a a great life if you choose to. Like, you know.
You have thoughts on this one?
Yeah. So I am a college grad, and
Right. We have one on the show today.
so you know, I'm reading this, and you know, there's different problems for different people. You know, Biggie Smalls once said, "Mo money, mo problems." So
It's true.
when I look at this, I don't necessarily think that there's a mental aspect where it's like, if I can just do X, Y, and Z. I do think that if you change your perspective on things, like, yeah, it could work. You know, it's the old saying, like, how do you retire? It's like, well, I can retire right now if I severely lower my standard of living or I make a lot of money very fast.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, you know, what makes you happy. And it seems like this person's problem is that they can't find that happiness.
Yeah.
So when it says, does life get better? I can tell you that I've had my own problems as well. I find fulfillment in other things that I never thought I would find fulfillment in.
Exactly.
Growing up, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have kids. I'm currently engaged, and I have an adorable little son. So,
I didn't even know that.
Well,
congratulations. How old is he?
he's going to be 3 in May.
Oh, good for you, man.
So I find happiness that way. So I don't know what you mean by does it get better? Like, does it get easier?
Maybe.
You just get good at the stuff that, you know, you just realize how to do different things. But, you know, better is all about perspective, like you said.
Exactly. Like, and I wasn't saying like mental disorder or anything, but it's like I think you can coax your brain into depression.
You can. You absolutely can.
Like, if
People
you
need to
just
remember
allow
that.
yourself, like, every time you feel these like thoughts of like, oh, I wish you know, like, you can put yourself in a state of mind that is really unhealthy to operate in.
So there's also a couple other problems that they point out here about the home ownership and student loans are piling up with interest. It sounds like they're kind of a victim of the
system.
school-backed loans. Like, they're going to just hand out any money, you know, whether or not you're qualified for it, with no hope of going up. I don't agree with 100% of what Dave Ramsey, you know, preaches. You know, I agree with like 80% of what he does. And he does this thing called a debt snowball. So what you do is, if you have credit card debt, you want to pay that off first, and you want to go with your lowest balance one that you have. And then that's done. And then you roll over those payments to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And if you're already at your student loans, it's what I do for my finances is I pick a number to that I need in my bank account. I will not go below it. But any dollar after all my expenses are done is above that, I put every single penny towards that because it goes 100% towards principal. And I'm not too into debt consolidation either, but
in some cases it can be good.
You gotta live within your means. We had a saying in the military: embrace the suck, because it's not going to get any better. And it's kind of like in college, it didn't get any easier. You just got better at it.
Yeah. How they manage it and how they react to, because everything has hardships and suffering is part of enjoyment as well.
So is this what the rest of your life is going to be like? No, it's not. You're going to have significant changes throughout your life. You're going to get a new job probably. You're going to go to a different place. Maybe there's a new place that values your time a little more. You can get paid better for sure. You can find something that gives you more fulfillment, not just monetary.
But is struggles part of is this everyday life? Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has their own thing, and it sounds like you're going through sometimes, but how do people have time to do anything other than just survive? There's stretches where that's kind of how it feels, but you got to make time for you.
That's the part that keeps making me come back to where are you? Are you living in a city? I was looking at, and just in comparison to places I've lived before, because here is never a good place to compare to where we are now. But, and anytime you get a few hours outside of a city, the price of living goes down substantially.
Yeah.
So this person could be living in a city and maybe they're making really good money with their spouse, but it's they just can't get ahead. I'd recommend commuting, get out of the city if that's the case. It's just, that keeps coming back to my mind because anytime I meet or, know someone from the city, they're not always complaining about it, but that's their lifestyle. It's work all the time, whatever they're doing 24/7.
They're stuck in the grind.
And usually they're people who love what they do. And so that's fine. This whole working 80 hours a week crap,
With a degree, being stuck in the grind is, power for the course to getting a better career, like he was saying too. Maybe you need the experience. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have to suffer for 3 or 5 years,
and that could be the case too. And so in that case, life would get better.
Yeah,
as time goes on.
Leverage your soft skills.
Yeah,
like I said earlier, you leverage your soft skills.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like what you're doing, you do have a degree that says that you can pick something, stick to it, see it through, and that means something.
Yeah.
You do learn things on the job that are beneficial later, right? Like I was in the military, like I said, I worked different government jobs, but no two of them were exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you just try to be thankful for what you have. There's going to be struggles through all of life, but if you keep your perspective on the positive and, just be thankful, and you also don't realize too that the part that you struggle is usually one of the biggest periods of human growth. You're developing into being tougher skinned, and if you can live at a certain level, maybe it's not comfortable, but when you do alleviate yourself financially or whatever, it's going to feel great, know? You can't appreciate it unless you've struggled a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point too. It's sometimes, they also don't say how old they are. If you're 24 years old, it's you got more struggles ahead of you.
I think any periods of struggle, as long as you do find yourself out eventually, I think they're really good for you.
Yeah. Well, it's also if you're pushing 60, it's give it a few more years, maybe you can retire. But I don't think they're. Yeah. This does not signal someone who's pushing.
This seems somebody who's young, in their mid-20s.
Because they wouldn't have student loans if they went to school 40 years ago.
That's true. Unless, actually, I was gonna say, she got lucky because through my dad, the VA paid for it, but my mom went back, got her master's just a few years maybe I guess about 10 now. She was in her 50s when she did it. But I think she only did it because it was going to be paid for kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a lot of people that would go back and get their masters in their 50s just because.
Yeah.
And because, if it's going to cost them.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, you could go like the way a degrees work is like a bachelor's. You generally know a lot of things. A master's a little more specific. Find out in your degree field, what's that specific thing that makes you more money?
Yeah, if
and
that's
get
the
your
goal.
master's in that, if that's available to you. But I mean, that's also asking you to bring in more student debt. But
Yeah, exactly.
there's so
It's a little give and take on that one.
a little give and take.
But a change in perspective will go a long way. Just, live in the moment, be happy with where you are.
Yeah.
And things will get better as long as you want them to.
Yeah. Well, again, mindset, big change in mindset, I think will help here.
Yeah.
But thank you for
This has
tuning
been
in, Dodo Birds.
This has been a fun one. We had first guest. We're doing some milestones.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
This is our friend Logan. I don't know if we ever actually gave a proper introduction.
We did.
Okay. And I noticed he said his last name earlier, so you're going to have to beat that out.
Yeah.
For someone that's what they do in the military, so
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. But just make sure that gets beeped out.
Classified.
My name's classic.
Yeah.
But thank you again, guys. And we are going to let you go. Until next time, toodaloo.
Have a good one.
See you later.